That was free.
For y'all. This is the meat. This is a good one right here.
That's
It's got meat on it.
That's
See?
my kind.
This right here?
No, stop. It's not good for you. Good. They're good though, huh?
It's crazy where life takes you. The path you choose and the paths that seem to choose you. I am so blessed to be exactly where I am today. I wouldn't change a thing.
I think that Cary is a true representation of what a lawyer should be in Louisiana.
With my early introduction or meeting Cary, I immediately felt very comfortable with Cary to start delegating and start having him getting more involved in my own personal businesses to kind of take the lead role.
Cary is a man you can trust. And when you're talking about your money and you know what you have to do to be a citizen of the United States and a citizen of Louisiana, you want someone you can trust impeccably.
Everything we do falls into three general categories: faith, family, and taxes. I was born in Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
The people of Louisiana are family-oriented people, very culturally rich state, you know, probably one of the most culturally rich states, I think, in the whole country.
The beauty of the state is in its people. Its people are very hardworking, work hard, play hard, and enjoy that philosophy raising my family as well here.
There's festivals all across the state where the people, the families get together with friends and they have they pass what we call pass a good time or having a good time. And that's, I'm sure a lot of that is instilled in me, and that's why I'm family oriented and I think, always will be.
I grew up in a family of five. My mother and father were excellent parents.
When I was about 8 years old, we moved to Baker, which is just north of Baton Rouge.
Ended up going to an elementary school in Baker, went to Baker Middle School, and graduated of Baker High School. The Battling Buffs, still a Battling Buff, you'll always be a Battling Buff, I guess. When I graduated from Baker, I fulfilled my dream. I went to LSU and in Baton Rouge. Very, very fond memories of the school and the campus. LSU football at the time were very good. A lot of student life at LSU, but a lot of good times, and of course I remember a lot of the hard work. It's a time when you have to learn to balance, because there's a lot of activities to do, there's a lot of fun, but you also have to study. Naturally, I decided to go to law school, and I have very fond memories there because that's where I met my wife. The first day of law school, Angie, I remember she came in right as the bell was ringing, and there's one empty seat in the whole auditorium, and it just happened to be right by me. First word I ever said to her was, "May I borrow a piece of paper and a pencil?"
On our first date, I picked Cary up because his car was wrecked. He happened to run into the back of a garbage truck on his way to our first law school final, and that was the beginning of our relationship.
I guess we always knew, then that we were going to be working together. I think our lives started like that together, and they really have never changed.
Cary relies heavily on Angie's advice, and I think vice versa.
We're constantly collaborating on their cases and strategy and input.
That's the beauty, I guess, of having your spouse or your wife as your law partner, because the task of what normally one lawyer would do, I have the ability to divide it up. And Angie, is actually, I have to admit, she's better at some things than I am, and of course I like to think that I'm better at some things. So we've kind of divvied up the task between us. So we work, a lot, but I do think we also have the grace and the gift to take care of our family.
To me, that's probably one of the toughest things, to have a husband and wife in the same business, and the fact that also trying to balance family with that.
Is that Angie can leave most every day at 3 o'clock and pick the kids up, so she's still able to do everything that she wants to do, as a mother. She's with the kids all the time, but for that time she's at the office. So we're really able to put that together well.
I'm all about balance. I think once your life gets out of balance one way or the other, that's when problems start to arise in business or home life.
Business is important to them, but when it comes to their children and the family unity, it's second to none.
And, dinner time is important to us. We try to always meet for dinner every evening, and we make sure our kids know that that's important. And if we go a few days missing that for whatever reason, Little League Baseball or something like that, the kids will start wanting it. You can tell. It's a pretty cool thing because they like being with each other. You know, and people ask me, you know, what do y'all like to do together? I think our family, when I realize is, they really just want to be together. You don't have to take them to, you know, to the great trips and this great stuff or the Disney World and all that. You know, they just really want to be with you. We go to LSU baseball games together. You know, I'm fortunate enough to have friends that have, you know, could get me that many seats in one area, which is hard, but, you know, my friends will help me out.
I think for everyone, family should be, if it's not a ballast, the place where people accept you for who you are, your weaknesses, your strengths, and a place to feel joy, a place to feel sadness, and a fulfillment.
Generation rising up to take their place with selfless faith. You're just like Brian. Emily is Black Widow. Emily is Black Widow. I want to try that. 1, 2. Wait, hold on. 2, 3. What time does the enchilada place close?
It's already closed. The enchiladas? Enchiladas are closed.
Wait, what's it called? Gelato. Enchilada's Mexican.
Faith kind of dictates everything in our life. Our relationship usually turns back to faith in times of trouble, in times of thanksgiving, and then that pretty much is the paramount place for us to find our well-being and our values.
It's us. I mean, without that, you know, I think faith defines us. It's one thing our family also does too, you know. We pray together. I mean, and our kids know at about 8 o'clock in the evening, you know, we're pretty much going to meet in the living room and, you know, we're going to have family prayer time.
In the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Bless us, O Lord, and these thy gifts which you are about to receive.
Shortly after I arrived, Angie and Cary invited me home to dinner with their family. There, they both offered their service to the church, and I got them involved in various ways. Immediately, Cary was interested in becoming a lector, and for many years he had contemplated that. The boys became altar servers, and even some of the girls got involved with campus ministry, youth ministry. So it was a wonderful gift to me, and I was blessed that they invited me to offer themselves to the service of the church.
The Brysons, as we call them, the Bryson bunch, are involved with every aspect that they can be with the church. They go to school here. I mean, they're involved every day with church and school and extracurricular activities. The boys serve at Mass. Everything there is to sign up for and to be involved in, at least one Bryson is involved in it.
When I think about Cary, I think about his faith. He's a man that works from his inner core. I share some time with him out of sight, out of the ordinary day-to-day church going that, you know, makes a difference in our lives.
You know, when Cary and I decided to practice together, we wanted a way to manifest or show the world in our practice what we experience in our private lives spiritually.
This law practice, you know, has become Angie and I's ministry, and everybody who really works for the law firm has to kind of approach it that way as our ministry, you know, but we certainly don't expect everyone to have the same belief values that we have, you know, and nobody's pushing that on our values on anybody, you know.
We feel like part of our ministry is to help our neighbors and friends from the state of Louisiana, being Louisiana lawyers, educated in Louisiana, to give back to the local community and people who have supported us and given us the opportunity along the way.
I started my agency 29 years ago. It's a legal staffing service. I had a bookkeeper that had not been paying my unemployment taxes. Well, when I did find out about it, it had grown substantially. The IRS doesn't want to know who did it. You're going to get blamed if you are the owner of the corporation.
One thing I find, you know, when I visit with so many people, you know, is that people are always, I think they're afraid to come visit us or come see us. And people are so worried and they're so concerned about being judged by us. And that, you know, that is the last thing that we do. When you deal with those situations, you have to reach out to family and to friends. And that's kind of what we're here for.
I got a letter from a major tax resolution company that promised me that they could do anything that I needed done to take care of the tax problems, and there was a guarantee and they would be with me till the end. Well, they did absolutely nothing.
It's tragic that this part of the legal system has been opened up to so many agents and companies who are really just in the business of taking money from people who are in a desperate and vulnerable situation.
Did not return my emails, did not return my telephone calls, and they had set up an ACH, pulling money out of my account every month, and $6,350 later, I put a halt to it. At a later date, I found out that they were not licensed in Louisiana to practice.
We saw that our clients needed local Louisiana help.
We're a local firm, and you can come in and you can meet with Cary and you can meet with Angie and you can really meet with the attorneys and, you know, get to know them.
I got a letter from Bryson, so I called.
You know, and the neatest thing about being able to have our firm, we were able to really have an impact on your clients' demeanor and life. In so many areas of the practice of law, it was just very unsettling and very uncomfortable because you couldn't really affect your client. But in the tax practice, you really have a direct impact, on a taxpayer or your client's life, or business.
And from that point forward, I felt very, very confident and very at home. Everyone in their firm is very, very nice. It's like a big family.
Once you become a client of the Bryson Law Firm, you're in our family. Once you're in the family, the rest of the family members have your back. They got you covered in every aspect. When you're down, your family members are there. You can always count on family.
It is a family place, a family environment for our employees and our clients as well. They can call anytime and get the service they need.
But I never doubted, not 1 second, that they would help me. So far, I haven't had to pay anything. I'm very confident because I know that the Bryson Law Firm has my back.
One thing I want to make clear, I am not a tax protester. I think it's our constitutional obligation to pay taxes. I mean, this is what runs our great country. But also, I do believe, with that being said, we also have the right, the constitutional right, to pay our fair share of taxes at a minimum allowed legally under the law.
The issue is fairness in collection in terms of whether you owe and being treated with respect by the IRS or the collection agency, and understanding that circumstances sometimes will prevent that.
It actually began when I was trying to operate a family business. It was going okay until 9/11. All of a sudden, nobody wanted their landscaping done anymore. People were just being more careful about their money. We weren't able to, for a few years after that, to take care of the business as we should have. And so whatever monies there were, we just used to kind of survive on.
Our basic necessities had to come first. It was a matter of paying the rent, paying the car note, paying on, the kids' tuition or whatever was absolutely necessary. And so we would earmark money to pay the IRS, and we had every intention of doing it, but we always seemed to fall just a little bit short.
If given the choice to feed my family or pay my taxes, I would feed my children every day of the week and take care of the tax problem later.
We eventually ended up having to move out of our home, and within the year we had to sell it. And by the time I got here, the penalty and interest and the money I owed, I think, had gone up to about $35,000. At the time, there was a lot of direct communication with IRS about trying to find some way to work through this. But what they did, they set up an agreement, and then I would get the next month's billing, and it would be greater than the last month's, even though I had paid. And I came to realize that what they had me do was agree to pay enough to satisfy some of the penalty and interest. But by the time it came back the next month, the balance was even greater than the previous month's.
They had hired the out-of-town salesmen, several of them at different firms, and had, of course, just sent a lot of money out of state to these companies who were doing nothing towards solving their tax problem. Really were doing more harm than good as far as getting their case resolved.
That was actually a real nightmare. We decided to hire what we thought was a reputable tax firm. that we saw advertised over TV in the big city, Houston, Texas. We took money that we didn't have, and we gave them a retainer, and we were trying so desperately to get out from under because we knew that every month that went by, the penalties and the interest were just growing and growing and growing. So out of frustration, we would find ourselves even getting at odds with each other.
They really were in a bad way, I think, amongst themselves. They were, of course, when you have a tax problem, usually not getting along. You're staying awake all night, and I think even to the point, to where they were really being challenged.
When clients come to us, typically they're very stressed. It's a huge burden on their shoulders. It's the first thing they think about when they wake up and the last thing they think about before they go to bed.
They nickeled and dimed us to death because every time they turned around, we needed to send them another $500 or another $1,000, and we never got anything for that money, not one thing.
And they came to us, and we were able to get a hold of the situation.
And they were patient and loving and kind, and then they offered me solutions. And that was the first time that anybody really genuinely seemed to care. They seemed to really understand. They knew what to do, they knew how to handle the problem, and they were quick and they were efficient.
I still remember where I was working out in College Station, Bryan, Texas, I should say, when I got the call, and Angie Bryson told me that this is what they had agreed. I remember thinking, boy, it's going to be a hefty monthly payment, and she said, no, it's $550. You think you can handle that? And I was just so happy. I remember, yes, we can do that.
Money can't buy caring, and for them, it's not about how much you give them. It's that they genuinely care about making your life better.
Well, they're part of our family now, and they're just in a much better place. And to know that you were able to assist them and coach them and guide them through their really difficult time in their lives and get them to this much better place where they're at peace with themselves and with each other, is just truly gratifying and rewarding that you can't even describe.
The majority of these cases don't have anything really to do with the taxpayer themselves about a bad decision that they made or one or two bad decisions. It's usually just circumstances of life that we all encounter. Everybody encounters, these situations in life. I mean, especially in Louisiana.
Louisiana's been through a lot of very big trials and tribulations, things that the whole world has watched us as we've suffered through them.
I'm an attorney, practicing attorney for the last 23 years. Hurricane Gustav destroyed my building, destroyed a lot of my records, destroyed my operations for several months. So I had to put a new roof on my building, and all of my records got destroyed. So in the time frame, you really don't have time to deal with a tax situation as much as making sure your practice is back and going. As an attorney myself, the practice of law is, in some cases, is specialized. In reference to tax issues, it's very specialized. I wouldn't touch a tax problem if the guy offered me a blank check and said, do what you got to do. I want someone that has expertise, has knowledge, and knows how to deal with IRS. I ended up calling Cary, and I sat down with him, and we met for about an hour.
We have a flat fee arrangement with our clients. They come in for a free consultation. If they decide not to hire us, there's no charge. Basically, we'll evaluate the tax problem, other problems if necessary, and tell them right there exactly what it's going to cost. Speaking
to attorneys, myself being an attorney, I felt that comfortable in that he would tell me the truth and tell me what I was able to get back from IRS. Finally, one day in the mail, I got my check in the mail, and I emailed back Angie. I said, "Tell me how much I owe you, because I want to pay you for the difference." And I think I owe you, and she said, "You don't owe me anything because we made an agreement, and that's your agreement to costs." And they said, "Just pass a good word that we did a good job for it."
Once our clients' tax problems are solved, the last thing I want to see is them back in this office 5 years from now with the same problem or something similar.
We've discovered that a lot of the things, and through the process of solving their problems, A lot of the problems stem from a lack of accounting knowledge.
And oftentimes it's because they don't understand the accounting issues that led to their tax problem, or the disorganization maybe.
Angie and I both together started this other company, the Bryson Accounting and Tax. You know, our clients are really starting to appreciate that, and it's really getting busy to where the accounting practice is really having to grow. We've hired several accountants now, and we need to hire more all the time because we have more and more clients that are really need. And you know, we really now are going to have an effect long term on our family. You know, our clients who are going to be able to fix these problems. You know, once and for all, they're going to be fixed.
The Brysons are awesome people. They have an awesome family. They're always willing to help us out if we have any questions. They're always around.
You know, they're great to work for. Cary was named America's premier tax expert. So that's been really exciting. We've been doing a lot of, you know, stuff getting ready for that. You know, there's not a whole lot of attorneys that are specialized in tax, but he's one of them. So it's neat that he stands out. You know, across the U.S., he was named one of the top, you know, tax pros.
Their faith and their family and their practice is all one. It's not, there's no dividing line.
It's not the norm. Most businesses function for let's get what we can get. I think for Cary and Angie, it's a vocation. How can we minister to our clients coming in the midst of crises?
I've got a very short list of people that I call if I've got a question on a case that's you know, a difficult case on something that we haven't seen before, and Cary Bryson is definitely on the top of that list.
If I was in Louisiana and I had an IRS problem, the only firm I would go to is Cary Bryson at the Bryson Law Firm.
The people in Louisiana, you can knock them down, you know, but they're always going to bounce back. You know, whether it's a storm, you know, a hurricane, you know, whether it's a financial situation in their own personal lives, something, you know, the economy goes bad, whatever. You know, the great people of this state are always going to bounce back. And you know, the coolest thing, the thing I love the most is that, you know, the Bryson Law Firm gets to be a part of that.